career in law enforcement. I started with the village of Warwick PD before I went to the state police. I was a part timer there, and then went off to the state police academy. Came back and had a long career, starting in 1980 in SP Monroe. And everyone in the state police, starts as a trooper in a car,
Hmm.
and go on from there. So, me personally, I've made thousands of arrests, um, hundreds of cases. I was in crime scene for more than 3 years, 100 homicide scenes, and you know, dozens and dozens of latent fingerprint cases. Went on to have a career in white collar crime, which is much better than crime scene, much better than crime scene. But
Oh, less messy, I guess.
oh, you don't have those images that are indelibly printed into your brain.
That would be one of the hardest things I should think about being in law enforcement. But yes, okay.
And so there you have sophisticated financial crime. I was in the first wave of state police investigators that were sent to combat technology crime. And this is when the internet was just firing up. It was still over the phone that you had access to the internet. And then I went to narcotics late in my career, and there I was more specialized in photography, long lens photography, and electronics. So I was also simultaneous to that. I was a union leader statewide in the New York State Police Investigators Association. So I represented all the members of the New York State Police BCI in all facets of their labor representation. Simultaneous to that, I was also in the first wave of professors at SUNY Sullivan when they began their criminal justice program, and I've been there ever since. Just finished up 33 years last year in teaching hundreds of young people that were seeking careers and degrees in criminal justice. So in 2002, Carl Du Bois won the election for sheriff,
Hmm.
and he asked me to become his undersheriff. So I brought over to the sheriff's office, which at that time was a broken agency, under investigation by the attorney general, under investigation by the Orange County legislature, and dominating the headlines for all the wrong reasons for a police agency. So we came in and we changed it all, 180 degrees. We brought in the standards of the state police. They're very high standards, and requires membership to come to work and perform at high levels every day. And 20 years later, here we are. The sheriff has been elected 5 times. I've been his undersheriff all 5 terms, and we now operate in the top 2% of the nation and the top 1% here in New York State. And how do you measure that? Well, you measure that by looking at accreditations we've acquired. So what are accreditations? Accreditations where outside people come and they judge your operating standards. You have to meet their standards that they tell you that you have to meet, and then they come and make sure that you are meeting them. So it's easier to get an accreditation than it is to maintain it, because the first time you get it, you're sort of promising to do all these things. The second time, they come back and make sure your promise is good. And we've repeatedly been accredited. We were first accredited by DCJS in 2004, and we just received, just the other day, our third accreditation from CALIA, which is the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. It is a nationwide accreditation, and like I said, only a very small number of PDs in this, less than 10 PDs in this state hold it. Now there's 30 some odd PDs in Orange County alone.
Mm.
And more than 500 agencies, I think, in New York, and only less than 10 have it. So that's how you're in the 1%. We've been innovative from the beginning. With the accreditations, with the creation of the Special Operation Group, that's a multifaceted agency that responds to critical incidents around the county. Civilian handgun training, which no other law enforcement agency east of the Mississippi is doing. Our training command, we took a segment of our population and turned them into trainers, that's their main focus. Very important for an agency our size. We're reshaping the Public Information Office right now. How we reshaped our vehicle fleet, which has historically been just a terror for most police agencies. we led the county effort on police reform and reinvention. And I'm involved now in the healing communities, which is a multi-agency task force to try and rethink how we address drug abuse. So
you're very busy. That is a very impressive resume. Thank you very much. Under Sheriff Kenneth Jones. Paul Arteta. Now,
Yes.
you are the deputy chief of the Village of Montgomery Police Department, but you were also in the Sheriff's Department as a captain for a time.
Yes,
right?
I worked at the Sheriff's Office for 28 years.
What would you like us to know about you?
Well, I began my career in the Corrections Division. I served there for 2 years, and then through civil service promotion, I was selected as deputy sheriff, and I worked my way up through the ranks. I was through a civil service exam. I took the test and passed for sergeant, selected for sergeant of the road patrol, and then after I did some time with the road patrol, I moved on to the investigations division. While I was assigned to the investigation division, I was appointed to the FBI's Safe Streets Task Force, which is a task force that concentrates on gang activity in the whole region, not just Orange County. We did a lot of substantial arrests with that, and one of them in 2010 where we helped Newburgh out a great deal with nearly 80 arrests and lowering the violent crime and solving a lot of crimes down in Newburgh, a lot of open homicides. From there, I was promoted to lieutenant, and when I was promoted to lieutenant, I was tasked by the district attorney as well as the sheriff to oversee the drug task force and recreate the Orange County Drug Task Force, which I did. The drug task force is still running successfully today, which I'm very proud of. While we were in the task force, we understood the need to address the overdose deaths. Just last year, we had over 140 overdose deaths just in Orange County, which is ridiculously high, and we have to do a lot more work to help fight that. We worked with the medical examiner's office, the district attorney's office, and a lot of the local police agencies in collaboration to help fight off the drug abuse and drug use. From lieutenant, I was promoted to captain through civil service exam, which I led the road patrol. I helped with budget creation. I helped with several facets of the sheriff's office, including the PIO, which public information officer, which I put out all the press releases and information out. I overseeing all the different units, the bike unit, the boat unit. Throughout my career, I was assigned to the bike, the boat unit. I ran each unit until I got promoted out of it. During my career, back in 1999, we felt the need for the deputies to separate from the corrections as far as a union. So we created the Deputy Sheriff's PBA, which I was the president of for a number of years, about 10 years. And we bargained several very successful bargaining agreements to bring the deputy side up to a level where they're at today. They've had much success, and they're continuing this success today. I retired back in 2020, and when I retired, I saw the opportunity to go work in the Village of Montgomery as deputy police chief. When I got there, I worked in close collaboration with our chief and one of our sergeants that's there currently, and we recreated the entire policy procedure. And we've already applied for state accreditation, and we're just waiting on getting the full accreditation for the Village of Montgomery, which is a great deal for a small village. We also collaborated with the Village of Walden and the town of Montgomery to assist in trying to get everybody all together in our town to get the accreditations.
Okay. I have a question based on something that you said a moment ago, but we need to take a quick break first. So we will be right back with more. We have a conversation between the two candidates for the Republican nomination for Orange County Sheriff. Kenneth Jones and Paul Arteta are here at Wall Radio. We're at wallradio.com, and you can also go to our Facebook page and see what we all look like. The Wall Facebook, we are live streaming it now too. It is 9:21 at Wall. We'll be right back.
At Price Chopper and Market 32, we want to help you shop smart. That's why we created More Ways to Save. Take weekly specials. Every week, get the best deals on high-quality items we know are important to you. Like Butcher's Promise Beef T-Bone Steak, just $6.99 a pound. And red, green, or black seedless grapes, only $1.99 a pound with your Advantage card. More Ways to Save at Price Chopper and Market 32.
You're listening to Tech Talk, brought to you by Acquisitions Marketing, where businesses become brands. I'd like to welcome Town Supervisor Brian Marr to Tech Talk. You could have chosen any organization to help the town of Montgomery. Why Acquisitions Marketing?
Billy Iverson is local, born and raised in the town of Montgomery. We want to support local. So the first thing we did was look at town of Montgomery marketing agencies. Is there someone here who can give us what we need? We chose Billy. I trust his judgment. I trust all of the information and all of the products he's put out so far. So we gave him a stab at being our marketing person. The town has certain procurement policies where if you spend money, you have to get other quotes. So when we got other quotes, not only did we find that Acquisitions Marketing was more affordable than everyone else, but we specifically asked for certain items because we knew what to expect because we were receiving the quality. And when we asked for that quality, it was all add-ons. It was even more.
To turn your business into a brand, call 845-427-1859 or go to acquisitionsmarketing.com.
It's back and better than ever. Wall Radio and Michael's Appliance Center have teamed up to bring your dad the best Father's Day present ever. Enter to win now through midnight Thursday, June 16th to win a Napoleon Freestyle 425 grill. But wait, there's more. We're adding 4 tickets to the museum at Bethel Woods, 2 pizzas from Pellegrino's, and 4 tickets to NASCAR at Pocono Raceway in July. Andy from Michael's Appliance Center will join Kate Friday, June 17th to announce the winner live. Just go to wallradio.com, click on contests, and enter to win. Good luck.
This is Wall Radio. We're introducing you to the 2 candidates on the Republican ticket for Orange County Sheriff. The primary is coming up on Tuesday, June 28th. With me today, Paul Arteta and Kenneth Jones. Now, Paul, you had just said a couple minutes ago that you were helping the deputy sheriffs versus the corrections. I need that part explained. I know that the sheriff's office has many duties. The deputies transport inmates from the jail to their court appointments, yes. And you handle evictions. And if somebody wants a pistol permit, they go through the sheriff's department. But I started to like lose focus when you were saying corrections versus the deputy. Can you explain that part, please?
When I first started the sheriff's office, we were one big union under COBA. I was the secretary of that union as well. And the correction officers are a different civil service test. They do a different job than the deputy sheriffs.
So those who run the jail?
Yes.
Okay.
They run the jail. They do transports as well. They do a lot of the federal transports, some of the local transports. They do a lot of medical runs and whatnot. Everything that's contained inside the jail, they could take outside if necessary. Oh, sure, taking an inmate to the hospital or something. Sure, yes. There's got to be somebody to handle that. All right. In my career, when I collaborated with the FBI, we tasked some of our correction officers to help us. Several of them got awards for the assistance that they provided for the FBI for a lot of the different takedowns, the arrests that we did together. The deputy side, like you said, they do a lot of different facets. Civil is a big component of this. The civil process. So serving papers, orders of protection, papers where our communities, some of the people can't pay their bills, so they'll get a letter that says we're going to take money out of your paycheck.
And
they didn't pay a credit
serve
card.
That.
Yes.
Okay.
So the sheriff's office serves those. A lot of different sheriff's offices have a separate civil division where there's civil deputies that just handle that. Our deputies do everything. So they take civil out with them while they're on patrol. They write tickets. They can arrest people. They do everything a police officer can, as well as the civil component. Okay. Plus the other units that we have as well on the road, as the bike unit, the boat unit. And, SOG is a combination of corrections and deputy sheriffs working together.
Special Operations Group.
Yes. It started earlier as our SWAT team and ESU, and it changed. It evolved into different names, and then finally it became SOG. How many initials and acronyms do you have to memorize?
Well, in law enforcement, you have a ton of acronyms.
Yes, you do.
But
so
Special Operations Group was actually my invention to combine the correction officers and the deputies into a single unit.
I have to stop and say that first speaking was Paul Arteta, and now speaking is Kenneth Jones. Just want people to know who's where. Thank you.
And that was one of the many innovations we've done. It wasn't initially well received, in particular by some in the deputies, but from our perspective, you had a much larger population to choose from. Instead of 100 people in deputies alone, you could add 300 correction officers to that, and you had a much larger population to choose from, and you'd get a better product. And it speaks for itself. It's one of the Special Operations Group, which is not just a SWAT team. That's what it was before we got there. But it's turned into the Special Operations Group, which is crisis negotiators. It is tactical medics. Now it has backups from a drone, electronic support unit. And it brings the whole package. And they do about 200 jobs a year in Orange County. And so they're everywhere, and they're assisting every local PD. We were just out the other night in Walkill, and our CNT was just out last night, because they also do
CNT
crisis negotiators, but they do debriefings. So when police officers, and in last night's case, the City of Newburgh Fire Department goes to some horrific scene, they go and provide counseling, and they act as doormen to other resources that are within our society to help people deal with these images that they might see in these events they may attend. And so, especially for emergency workers. So, our administration basically invented that. There was an entry team and a CERT team, which is a corrections, ERT, emergency response team for the jail. So there were resources that just weren't being used properly. And we redesigned it, and now they're one of the best in this region, and probably one of the best in the state. You
both sound like you're very proud of the people that work for the Sheriff's Department.
Absolutely.
Well, it's the Sheriff's Office, and
Sheriff's Office, not department. Sorry, thank you.
It's the Sheriff's Office, and look, you don't attain those accreditations without having a workforce that invests in the goal. So we can provide the leadership, we can provide the standards, we can provide the training and equipment that allows them to obtain those standards, but you have to have buy-in from the unions. And we're proud that we have union support, and I'm very proud that even though I've been the administrator of discipline for 20 years, the people that work for us still endorse me.
We're going to get to that in just a moment. It is just about 9:30. Let's have a CBS News update on Wall Radio. We will be back with the two candidates for Orange County Sheriff, Kenneth Jones and Paul Arteta, on Wall Radio.
CBS News Brief. Concerns heighten over 2 U.S. military vets from Alabama who disappeared after joining the fight in Ukraine. CBS's Chris Livesay.
So far, the families and the State Department can't confirm if the 2 men have been captured here in the Kharkiv area. But a Russian social media post appeared the same day they went missing, claiming 2 Americans were now their prisoners.
FDA advisors unanimously recommending Pfizer and Moderna vaccines for kids as young as 6 months. CBS's Dr. David Agus.
The hope is these vaccines can start to go into arms of kids across the country on Tuesday the 21st.
Dow futures down 493 a day after the Fed announced another interest rate hike. Market strategist Scott Fulman.
While these central banks are acting independently, the fact is that they're all working in the same direction, and everybody is really looking to try to cut off inflation as quickly as possible.
CBS News Brief. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
Dad deserves double the thanks this year, so this Father's Day, give him the power tool system that has everything for every job. The Ryobi One Plus tool system now on special buy. Over 260 Ryobi tools powered by one interchangeable 18-volt battery. And for a limited time, when you make a qualifying Ryobi purchase, you get one select tool or battery free. Feels like Father's Day at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Offer valid through July 31st, 2022. Valid at participating stores and online. Limit 1 per transaction.
This week at Macy's, give love, give style with an extra 25% off gifts for Father's Day when you use your coupon or Macy's card. Or shop specials like 25% off designer underwear, undershirts, and socks. Polos from Club Room, Alfani, and more, $14.99 to $24. And a rugged Esquire bracelet for $24.99 with a qualifying purchase. Going on now at Macy's. Shop on the Macy's app to score deals, track savings, and mark your faves. Savings off regular sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
The Wall Radio weather forecast is brought to you by Tire Discount Center, Dolson Avenue, Middletown, Route 211, Middletown, Broadway, Monticello, and online at tirediscountcenter.com. Mostly cloudy, cooler conditions this afternoon. A small chance for a shower, high 75. Mostly cloudy, warm tonight. Showers, thunderstorms scattered about, low 63. Partly cloudy and warm Friday, high 85. Partly cloudy, cooler Friday night, low 57. Partly sunny, breezy, cooler Saturday, high 65. And mostly sunny Sunday, high around 70. I'm Mike Spiel from the Weather Tower.
It's 62 degrees at 9:32. You are listening to Wall Radio, or maybe you're watching on Facebook Live. We have a candidates forum for the Republican nomination for Orange County Sheriff. Undersheriff Kenneth Jones is here, a former state police officer. And Paul Arteta is here. He's the deputy chief of the Village of Montgomery Police Department and a former captain in the Orange County Sheriff's Department. Gentlemen, hello.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. It's nice to have you both. It's a nice conversation and a way for people to get to know you and decide who they're going to vote for. So thank you for your courtesies this morning. Just a comment that I made while the commercial was playing off mic. It would be perfectly fine with me if one of you gave an answer and the other one said, yeah, I think that too. Because I've noticed in many conversations and forums and debates that nobody can just say, yeah, we agree 100% on that. You're allowed to agree on some things, right?
Sure.
Thank you. Good. We're in favor of law and order and peace and calm and making things work in our community. So I would like to hear now from both of you endorsements. Both of you have some pretty strong endorsements, and I would like to hear about the organizations and individuals that have stood up and said they are for you. So who would like to go first? Paul, you look toward Ken. Ken, you can go first.
Well, endorsements, they vary in strength. I was in the union, for example. We used to endorse candidates, and every candidate seeks endorsements. Mm-hmm. So rather than give you a list of endorsements, I talk about the three that are most important to me. Actually, the four that are most important to me. First of all of the unions that work at the sheriff's office have endorsed me. And I think that speaks for itself in that I've managed that agency for 20 years. And in particular, the sheriff entrusted me with internal discipline. And that's not an easy task in a population of that size. And you discipline people during the course of your business that they don't always follow the rules. And when you don't follow the rules, there's accreditation standards demand that discipline is imposed. And despite the fact that that's what I've been doing over 20 years, I still have the trust of all the people that work there. And most importantly to me, the sheriff has endorsed me. The sheriff has won 5 elections by overwhelming numbers in Orange County. The last 3 times he ran, he was unopposed. And I've been his undersheriff in all 5 terms. And I think really what I represent in many ways is a 6th term of Carl Du Bois. And we know that if he ran again, he would have run unopposed because no one would come out against him given his record. Well, I've shared that record the whole time and done a lot of work. I run the day-to-day operations of the jail and the deputies, and I've done so for 20 years. So the sheriff endorsing me, I thought, was the moment in the campaign that I'm most proud of because he's the one that has earned the trust of the people. And I know off microphone you talked about what's the difference between a Republican sheriff and a Democrat sheriff.
Yes, I wondered about that. What is the difference politically?
You know, there should be no difference in how a sheriff goes about their work, because a sheriff is a law enforcement official and not a politician. And I would tell anybody to be wary of a sheriff that is too immersed in party politics. Because when you spend a lot of time in party politics, you get associated with that party structure. And when you are immersed in that party structure, you're going to do the will of the party instead of the will of law enforcement, which is apolitical in nature. We enforce the law. And the sheriff's office, in particular the sheriff, you're not running to be one of 435. You're not running to be one of 100. You're not running to be a legislator who has to join a group and do things on a group effort. You're running to be the executive of an organization that has an $80 million budget and 500 employees. And you have to have executive experience. That's what I'm most proud of, too, is neither one of my opponents have a day's service running the sheriff's office. I've been running it for 20 years, and by every measure, the sheriff's office is run in an excellent fashion. And I would tell people, you want to keep the excellence? You vote for me, and you can expect more of what you've got for the last 20 years.
Thank you, Kenneth Jones, Undersheriff of Orange County. Now, Paul Arteta, your turn, please.
Endorsements. I have the endorsement of several police agencies. I have the Town of Montgomery, Village of Walden, Deer Park Police, and we anticipate several more coming in. I've always collaborated with all the police chiefs and all the police departments. I work very well with all of them, and I anticipate garnering all their support into the future, into November. I also have the New York State Court Officers. It's a very large union, and they recognized early that I'm the candidate. And as far as within the political party, I'm a Republican. So I got the Republican endorsement 3-1 at our convention, and I also got the conservative endorsement. And that's not inside politics. It's just they listened to my opponent and they selected me. I also got the support and endorsement from the Deer Park Committee, the Chester Committee, the Warwick Committee, Montgomery Committee, and the Port Jervis Committee. So I had a lot of committees that endorsed me. Warwick's the biggest committee around, and they endorsed me unanimously. And I agree with Ken. A Republican and Democrat sheriff should be the same. They should just respect the law and keep everybody safe, and that's what I intend to do as sheriff.
Okay, that's very helpful to hear. Now, the sheriff doesn't actually personally go and make arrests and all of that, I guess. But the sheriff is the executive. If either of you were elected to the office of sheriff, you would have to select an undersheriff, and that would be an appointed position, as I understand it. As Ken, you were appointed undersheriff 20 years ago. Am I allowed to ask, who do you have in mind for undersheriff, Paul?
I've had a lot of deputies from the inside step up, and we have a large selection of people that we're looking into, and male and female. And when the time is right, I'll announce.
Okay, that's fair. I realize that may be a semi-unfair question, but I'm going to ask it of you too, Ken.
It's not unfair. We have a plan, and again, the transition between Carl Du Bois and Ken Jones is seamless. And it's not hard to figure out who would be the undersheriff, because we're a semi-military organization. You have a sheriff, an undersheriff, an assistant undersheriff. If the sheriff retires, which he's doing, and the undersheriff wins, this undersheriff, as sheriff, would appoint the assistant undersheriff, which is Tony Weed. And his credentials are impeccable. Everyone in law enforcement knows exactly who he is. And it's true in sheriff's offices that the undersheriff does the bulk of the day-to-day work, and the sheriff is the outward voice and face of the sheriff's office itself. And it's the undersheriff that bears the burden. So Tony Weed is the assistant undersheriff. He already understands everything that has to be done in the office. That's why he's risen to the rank he has. And again, I believe it'll be completely seamless when he becomes undersheriff and I'm sheriff, and we will just continue the excellence on for the people in Orange County.
And you envision just everyone taking a step up. Okay. That is fair enough. Thank you for that. I guess I would like to hear from both of you, if elected sheriff, what would you change from the way things are now? Ken, I'm going to let you go first because I think your answer might be not much.
Well, that's
I could be wrong. I shouldn't put words in your
like in
mouth.
football, I'll defer because I'm not the one looking to replace the administration. So my opponent should really tell what he wants to change from the current operations.
Okay, sure, Mr. Arteta.
I lead from the front. I'm going to be a full-time sheriff. I'm going to be there. I'm going to have a great command staff. We're not looking to change the accreditations. We're looking to do more evidence-based work and move the agency into the 21st century, not just during an election year. There's 20 years that we could have done a lot of things. I did a lot of research into cameras over the years ago when I was a captain, and we were turned down for cameras. And in this election year, we're now seeing cameras getting ordered for the sheriff's office.
I read about that. So body cams will be happening.
So years ago, we could have been ahead of the curve with that. We do it in the village of Montgomery, and it works so great for us. It actually shows that our police officers are doing a great job out there.
Okay, and that would help public perception, perhaps?
Absolutely. And just moving into the 21st century, we wanted a electronics dog with our canine unit, and they just finally got one. We asked years ago to do that. We're looking to move this agency into the 21st century, and like I said, not just in an election year, during my tenure. And we're going to work well with the group of individuals and the transition team that I have, and we're going to take the sheriff's office into the 21st century and continue the excellence.
What is an electronics dog?
An electronics dog, you would take out, there's sometimes sex offenders like to hide their electronics equipment. Sometimes terrorists like to hide their electronics equipment. So the dogs are an asset for that type of search. Many of the canines that we currently have are drug dogs or bomb dogs or arson dogs. The electronics dogs actually, their specific thing is to look for the electronic devices and gadgets that these folks use to hurt people.
Never occurred to me it might be necessary, but okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
And then the arson dog is a great asset as well. For years we were using a dog from Westchester, and now we have one right here in our home in Orange County. The drug dogs, if I had it my way and we had enough money, every deputy would have a dog.
I understand that.
It's the best companion out there. That it's a great resource for them, as well as a great public relations tool. Whenever the guys are out there, they're always mixing and mingling with the community, and it's not just sicking a dog on some a bad guy. It's actually a very community oriented design, and it helps with the police perception as well.
Oh, sure, as do the summertime boating patrols and bicycle patrols, but you can't do those if you don't have the manpower.
Well, those have waned in the past few years. When I was on it, we were running the boat 7 days a week, and we were doing a bike patrol 7 days a week. Now that's gone down, and assets and patrols are geared at different things, which has depleted the number of people that we can actually assign to these things. We're going to take a deep dive when we get in January and see where we can move our assets. The Heritage Trail has been getting longer and longer in Orange County, and crime is evident. We may not see a lot of crime being reported, but we want a deterrent out there. If a bike goes by you on the Heritage Trail, you feel a sense of comfort, at least, because you have somebody out there that's going to protect you. There's a lot of towns out in our county that are unprotected, have no police presence. And just sending a patrol out through that town is a deterrent. There's a lot of crime that's occurring, a lot of stolen bicycles and motorcycles and things that sometimes go unreported because there's no real police presence. The boat unit, the boat should be out there all the time. A recent incident that occurred just yesterday, there was a person out in the water and he was basically drowning. And right around that time would be the time that our boat would be in that area. And they would have been there, but Town of Newburgh Police did a great job, and they saved the gentleman. So
that's what, you know, it is difficult to be everywhere and anywhere that something might happen, but I understand that yes, being there, just the presence. A question for you, Ken Jones. You were in the state police and now in the sheriff's office. What's the difference between the state police and in Orange County only? What's the difference between the sheriff's office and the state police?
Well, the difference between the state police and any county, town, or village police is assets and training. The personnel in the state police are more highly trained than virtually any other agency in the state. And they have tremendous assets that no county, or unless it's extraordinarily large, can police agencies operate independently today. Not since 9/11 are you supposed to be operating independently. That was the lesson we were supposed to learn following 9/11, that combining the assets of all law enforcement agencies into a single force is the way forward. That's the most professional way, and that's why we've reshaped a lot of what we've done into task force operations, whether it's the United States Marshals or FBI White Collar or Safe Streets that we assigned Paul Arteta to, along with other people. The DA's task force, which we assigned Paul Arteta to, with other investigators. Homeland Security, DSS, Deadbeat Dad, but now it's kind of like Deadbeat Spouse Task Force. And we're going to continue to be innovative. I'm on the task force, like I said, it's going to redesign how we approach narcotics. And I thank my opponent for pointing out all of the things we've done with electronic dogs, and we've had arson dogs for years. And as for body cams, he knows full well that these are budget items, and they are a significant budget ticket. And very frankly, the legislature and the county executive would not approve them. And they did approve them once you had this incident that caused national attention to body cams for police. Funding came our way, and suddenly it's on the front. But it was our agency years ago when another different local lawyer had proposed having gun cams so that a camera would come on and be attached to your gun. That was shot down in the legislature, and we were going to get it for free back then. And so this has always been proposed. It's not controlled by the sheriff. Your budget is not written by the sheriff. The budget is suggested to the county executive, who is the chief budget officer, and this county executive and the last county executive have a long, glorious history of cutting initiatives that we want to do. And I'll just give you, for example, right now, we've been proposing a building on our range, a training building, so that you can have professional firearms training, which you think would be important in law enforcement.
Yes.
But that project has stalled for 5 years.
Because
5
of money.
years. We have the money. It's the process of the bureaucracy itself. And that lies in the person that runs the county. Why isn't that building up? It is really controlled by the political leadership. I guess if something happens, it'll be important. And like body cams, suddenly it'll become pushed to the front of it. I don't think it's an election year so much. I think it's the fact that there's a lot of political pressure that came to them and the national discussion about police reform and reinvention. And suddenly, the legislature and the county executive found body cams to be at the top of the list. It was on the top of our list for years and years.
Since my opponent brought up the range, the county was sold a bag of goods with that range. Only the sheriff's office uses that range.
Well, that's not true.
If it were open to all the police agencies or the police academy, which is right up the road, it would be a great asset for all those different police agencies. Currently, just the sheriff's office uses it and maybe one federal agency. And there's a lot of animosity between the agencies because of that. It should be open to all law enforcement officers. All law enforcement in the county should train together. Nobody shoots different. We shoot at the range. We do our qualifications. We all speak the same slang. We can't just work together when the bell rings and we have to go to an incident. We have to work together all year around.
Sure.
And I'm the guy to bring that collaboration.
Well, that's not true.
Wait a minute. We have to stop now and take a break. We will be right back with more. This is now starting to get spicy. Between the two Republican candidates for Orange County Sheriff, Paul Arteta and Kenneth Jones on Wall Radio.
Middletown's Bid Farmers Market returns to Erie Way Park on Union Street every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. now through October 22nd. Just another way to shop local, eat local, spend local, and enjoy local in Middletown. See middletownbid.org for details. Buying appliances is as easy as 1, 2, 3 at Warwick Valley Appliance. 1, they're not a big box store, so you're talking to someone who knows appliances. 2, they're local and family-owned, investing in the communities they serve. 3, Warwick Valley Appliance matches competitors' prices, saving you time and money on all major brands. Experience, local, competitive. Exactly what you need when buying appliances for your home. Now offering free assembly on Weber grills. And ask for Scott. Warwick Valley Appliances, 314 Route 94 South in Warwick, or online at gotkitchens.net.
Walden Savings Bank is proud to be celebrating their 150th year in business with 11 convenient branch locations throughout the Hudson Valley, including the Dutchess County Lending Office located in Beacon. You'll receive a truly customized experience for personal and business banking, along with the latest options in digital banking, mortgage loans, commercial lending, and investment services. To learn more or open your account online, go to waldensavings.bank today. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, Walden Savings Bank, serving the community for 150 years.
Wall Radio, with the help of Mental Health America of Dutchess County, has created a resource guide for veterans, a comprehensive list of services, information, and events to support and assist veterans and their families. This is such a success that other veteran agencies are using it as a guide to find other services to help veterans. This resource guide is at wallradio.com. Wall Radio and Mental Health America of Dutchess County, committed to serving those who serve for us.
9:53 at Wall Radio. Thanks for being here with us on Facebook and on the air with our two candidates for the Republican nomination for Orange County Sheriff, Kenneth Jones, the present undersheriff, and Paul Arteta, who is presently the deputy chief of the Village of Montgomery Police Department. So, we have 6 minutes left before the top of the hour, and there's only time pretty much for parting statements. I really wanted to get into...
I have to address the range question because there was allegation there. It's just not true. We built a range because we were beg, borrowing, and stealing time from a range in New Windsor. And we did not have the proper slots to train our people. And we convinced the county to build a range for the sheriff's office. This mythology that it was sold to somebody, that all these local PDs could come and use it at their own leisure is nonsense. It was never sold that way. How do I know? I'm the one that sold it. And we explained all the costs associated with driving back and forth to a range and how it would be good right there at the dump.
And this is a shooting range for training for
firearms. So can local PDs use it? Yes, and they do when they sign an MOU. But most of the PDs, memorandum of understanding, because we have sophisticated pneumatic targeting systems there.
Okay. Yep.
And so just like the fire training center, we have to have a representative of the county, which is the sheriff's office, on the range when anyone else is training. Mm-hmm. You know, there's always someone from the county at the fire training center. The chiefs, in particular, want to have it unfettered access, and that's just not going to happen. You have to have an MOU, just like the fire training center. I don't see how this is an issue different than that. And the last thing, part of it, is that the legislature has never given us direction. Do we charge or not charge local police to use the range? Because they get charged when they go other places. So should the county collect that or not collect it? And it's taken them 3 years, and we're still waiting for...
That part sounds like politics.
Yeah, we're still waiting for a decision. And so, you know, that is an election year issue that my opponent knows full well the story and uses it anyway.
Okay. And we have just a few minutes left. Time to... Parting words. What would you like people to remember about you most? Paul Arteta, please.
I want to thank you for giving us the time to speak today. I have 28 years experience at the sheriff's office. I've worked just about every division, every facet of the sheriff's office. It's my heart and soul. And when I get back there, I'm going to lead from the front. I'm going to run that agency to the best of its capabilities and take it into the 21st century. We're going to get the best equipment. We have the best and brightest instructors in all of the county, pretty much, and we should be using that. We should be using our instructors in the police academy more, and we should be training our own people here in Orange County and not sending them out of the county to get trained to be police officers. They should be learning with the police officers they're going to be working with, and we're going to get back to all that and collaborate with all the different police agencies in our different communities, and hopefully we can keep crime down and prevent crime from looking like New York City right now. The reform started out as a, okay thing, and it turned into a mess. And we're going to work to keep the entire county safe, as safe as we can, even through this reform.
That's bail reform.
Bail reform, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's tied the hands of law enforcement, our DA, and the judges. It's got to be changed, and hopefully this November there's a big change in Albany for that.
Is that something that you agree with, Ken Jones?
That bail reform has had a negative impact on the criminal justice system? Yeah.
Okay.
I think anyone with...
they agree. Yay. Yay.
I think anyone with half a brain in their head understands that bail reform was not a positive impact on the criminal justice system or society at large.
Okay. I'm going to have to ask you to...
wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap it up. What do you want us to know about you? What do you want us to remember?
Listen, all these programs that everyone's so proud of, we invented. And that's why we're performing at the top 2% of the nation. And we're going to continue to perform up there. And I would tell any Republican voter that if you like the excellence of the sheriff's office, then I'm your choice, because I'm one of the architects that brought the sheriff's office to where it is today. And my opponent was a subordinate his entire time, was a middle manager, where it was not an executive within the office making final decisions for the direction of the office. And even training command, which he just cited on, was my invention, to take people out of the rotation in order to make them trainers. So earlier there was some discussion as to whether you need a more robust patrol. A patrol element, it's not really our function. There's 32 police agencies in this county that do community policing. To add a 33rd into community policing is not the righteous way to use your assets. You have to put your assets where the crime is. So we would be very reluctant to raise patrol profiles where we already have them in the towns that don't have PDs. There's patrols that are there, state police and ours. But to raise that and make it more dense is a silly use of your assets. You have to put your assets where the crime is. That every executive knows that. So you have children shooting children in Newburgh right now. I'm not going to raise the profile of the deputy sheriffs where there is no crime, whether it's in a park like the trail. We don't routinely patrol all the other county parks. We send patrols in because there's no crime there. You put your people where the crime is. But if you want form over function, and you want to, just show the flag and show how, the sheriff's office are here, there, and everywhere, I don't know why you do that when you're a law enforcement executive charged with providing law enforcement to the citizens of Orange County. So you go to where the crime is and you suppress it, and that makes the whole county safer.
Okay. Thank you.
And that's what you'll see in Jones' administration, just the 6th term of Carl Du Bois.
Thank you.
Early voting starts Saturday. June 28th is the last day of voting. So get out there early and vote.
Thank you very much. Both of you, gentlemen, you were really very easy to talk to, and I thank you very much for the courtesy of coming in and talking to us today on Wall Radio. It is 10 o'clock, close enough to 10:01. Let's hit the news.
This is the Hudson Valley's hometown station. WALL Middletown, WPDH HD2 and HD4 Poughkeepsie. Wall Radio, Middletown, New York, U.S.